In a world where empires have risen and fallen like waves in the ocean, one civilization continues to leave people speechless: Rome. Imagine standing in a city that has witnessed 2,000 years of history, where colossal temples, aqueducts, arches, and amphitheaters built by human hands still rise proudly against the sky, untouched by the cruelty of time. Why is it that while so many ancient civilizations from Babylon to the Maya have been reduced to dust, so much of ancient Rome still stands? What secret did they possess that allowed their architecture to outlast their empire, their emperors, and even the centuries of war and decay that followed? This question is not just about buildings. It is about genius, legacy, and a mindset that believed in eternity. The Romans did not simply build cities. They built symbols of power, permanence, and perfection. They built for the ages, not for the moment. And this is why, even after 2 millennia, their creations whisper stories of glory, science, and ambition to every visitor who walks their cobblestone streets. The secret begins with their extraordinary understanding of materials. Roman engineers invented a concrete so advanced that it has baffled modern scientists for decades. Unlike modern concrete, which begins to crumble within a century, Roman concrete grows stronger with time. The secret ingredient was volcanic ash, called pozzolana, which when mixed with lime and seawater created a chemical reaction that allowed the concrete to heal itself. When cracks formed, water entering them triggered new minerals to grow, sealing the fractures from within. This self-healing property made Roman harbors, aqueducts, and walls virtually indestructible, even under the constant assault of waves and weather. Modern marine engineers have studied Roman harbor remains, still intact under the sea, amazed that their underwater structures have resisted corrosion for over 2,000 years. What's more fascinating is that this knowledge was born from keen observation. Romans didn't have modern labs, but they learned from nature, from volcanoes, from lava, and from the earth itself. They mastered materials by understanding how the planet worked. But material alone does not explain their success. The Romans combined science with design genius. They revolutionized architecture with the invention of the arch, the vault, and the dome, elements that allowed them to build higher, wider, and stronger than any civilization before them. The arch distributed weight evenly, the vault expanded spaces horizontally, and the dome unified them under one celestial canopy. The Pantheon in Rome, with its perfectly symmetrical dome and open oculus, remains one of the greatest architectural achievements in history. Built in 125 AD, it still holds the record as the world's largest unreinforced concrete dome. To this day, architects and engineers study it with awe. How could an ancient society, without computers, cranes, or steel, design a structure so perfect that it has survived earthquakes, storms, and countless wars? The answer lies in their precision. Every Roman building followed strict mathematical proportions, ensuring balance and stability. They treated architecture as both art and science, blending beauty with function in ways that still define modern construction. Their roads were another miracle of endurance. "All roads lead to Rome" was not just a saying, it was the truth. The Romans built over 400,000 kilometers of roads across their empire, connecting territories from Britain to Egypt, from Spain to Persia. These roads were layered with stone, gravel, and sand, with a slight curve in the middle to allow rainwater to flow off the sides. Many of these routes still exist today, buried under modern highways, proving their incredible durability. They were built with such care that even after centuries of neglect, their structure remains intact. This meticulous planning allowed Roman legions to move swiftly, goods to flow freely, and culture to spread efficiently, turning roads into lifelines of an empire. The roads weren't just transportation routes. They were symbols of unity, progress, and control. The Romans didn't build hastily. They planned every project with vision. Their architects considered geography, climate, and natural forces before laying a single stone. Aqueducts, for example, were engineered with an exact slope, often descending just a few inches per mile, allowing water to flow naturally from distant springs to urban centers. The Aqua Claudia, one of Rome's 11 major aqueducts, stretched over 69 kilometers and supplied millions of gallons of water daily. It stood not only as an engineering triumph, but also as a statement of power, proof that Rome could command nature itself. Many of these aqueducts still stand, their arches lining valleys like silent witnesses to the empire's brilliance. Another reason for Rome's endurance lies in its philosophy of permanence. To the Romans, building was an act of immortality. Emperors, senators, and generals sought to leave behind monuments that would outlast their names. They saw construction as a legacy, a dialogue with the future. The Colosseum, commissioned by Emperor Vespasian and completed by his son Titus, wasn't just an amphitheater. It was a symbol of imperial benevolence, grandeur, and technical mastery. With seating for 50,000 spectators, complex underground chambers, elevators for animals, and a retractable awning system, the Colosseum represented Rome's ability to entertain, innovate, and dominate. Even in ruins, it stands as one of the most iconic structures in the world, a testament to the idea that true greatness never dies. When the Roman Empire fell, many expected its monuments to vanish with it. But they didn't. The city changed hands, invaded, sacked, rebuilt, yet the bones of Rome refused to crumble. During the Middle Ages, many Roman buildings were repurposed. Temples became churches, amphitheaters became fortresses, and forums became marketplaces. Ironically, this reuse preserved them. Instead of demolishing Roman structures, later generations adapted them, layering new histories over old stones. The Pantheon, once a temple to all gods, became a Christian church in the 7th century. And that's why it still stands today, one of the best preserved buildings of antiquity. Rome, quite literally, became a living museum. Even nature seemed to respect Rome. Earthquakes shook the Italian peninsula, fires swept through the city, yet many structures stood firm. The reason lies in their foundational engineering. Romans dug deep, anchoring their buildings on solid rock, using heavy stone bases to distribute weight. They also used bricks to reinforce corners and arches to absorb seismic shocks. These techniques gave their architecture a resilience unmatched by their contemporaries. Modern engineers have studied Roman ruins to learn how ancient builders handled earthquakes without modern tools. What they found was that Roman architecture was flexible, not rigid. It could move with the earth, not against it. Culturally, Romans saw their architecture as an expression of civilization itself. To build well was to live well. Public spaces like baths, forums, and theaters were designed for community life. Their baths, for instance, were feats of both engineering and social design. The baths of Caracalla, capable of holding thousands of people, included libraries, gardens, and gyms. Their heating system, the hypocaust, used hot air beneath raised floors to warm rooms evenly, an early form of central heating. The Romans understood comfort, symmetry, and the importance of public life. Their cities were built with order and purpose, with streets laid out in grids, sewage systems running underground, and monuments placed strategically to inspire pride. Another fascinating reason for their endurance is psychological: the Roman obsession with control. They saw chaos as the enemy of civilization. Every structure was a triumph over nature's unpredictability. By mastering stone, water, and fire, they believed they were proving humanity's right to rule. This obsession produced unparalleled attention to detail. Even unseen parts of their buildings, foundations, drainage channels, or interior walls, were crafted with care. To them, quality was sacred because their gods were watching. That spiritual and civic pride fueled craftsmanship of a level rarely seen again. Modern scientists and engineers are now rediscovering Rome's brilliance. Studies on Roman concrete suggest that if we can replicate their formula, modern infrastructure could last thousands of years, drastically reducing carbon emissions and repair costs. Urban planners draw inspiration from Roman cities for walkability and sustainability. Architects look to the Pantheon's geometry for perfect balance and light control. Rome's influence runs so deep that even skyscrapers echo its principles: balance, proportion, and endurance. But beyond science, there's something poetic about Rome's survival. Its stones have witnessed empires rise and fall, faiths change, and humanity evolve, yet they remain. The ruins are not dead, they breathe. They remind us of a time when humans dreamed of eternity and built with their hands what they saw in their imagination. The Romans believed that glory was not just in conquest but in creation. They knew that swords rust and crowns fade, but stone, shaped with purpose, can defy oblivion. Today, as millions visit the Eternal City, walking among ruins that still tower above them, they feel the same awe that ancient Romans once did. The city is a bridge across time, proof that the past is never truly gone. Its endurance teaches us something vital. Greatness is not about how long you live, but how deeply you build. So why is so much of ancient Rome still standing? Because it was built by people who refused to accept mortality. They mixed science with faith, logic with beauty, ambition with precision. They built with a vision that reached beyond their lives. Every brick, every arch, every road carries their message, that creation, when done with wisdom and heart, can transcend time itself. The ruins of Rome are not remnants of a fallen empire. They are the beating heart of human potential. And as long as they stand, they remind us that while flesh may fade and kingdoms collapse, the will to build something eternal will always be the greatest legacy of all. ChatGPT can make mistakes. Check.